Hey there, friends. We're talking again about grandparents raising grandchildren. And I mentioned in one of the videos, this is probably one of the most common issues that comes up in our comments or notes to us, emails. And I know it is a really large problem. Right now, there's approximately 2.7 million grandparents raising their grandchildren in the United States. So that tells you something is happening. There's a crisis in our culture, really, is what that number represents to me, because the natural progression of children, grandchildren, various generations doing their classic behaviors has been interrupted, and households are being disrupted, families are being disrupted. And so the children, the innocents in all this process, are the ones that we really hope to try and look out for as the grandparents. There are a lot of emotions involved in this issue. There may be anger, broken relationships. There's just a myriad of reasons this could be happening. But I hope that in everything we're putting out, all of our content, our goal is to seek what is best for the children involved and all work together as grandparents, as adults, to make that happen for them if possible. It's not easy. I commend grandparents who are raising grandchildren. I've mentioned before, I'm not doing that at present. I would do it if I needed to. I'd take those babies in a heartbeat. And a lot of them are getting as tall as I am, so they're not babies anymore. But I love them dearly and would certainly, do that if I needed to. So I do commend you if you're doing that. I hope that some of what we put out helps or aims you in the right direction to get the help that you need, because there are resources available. And that's a little bit of one of the things we'll talk about today. I want to talk about building a support network and leveraging resources for grandparents that are raising grandchildren. Just up front, admit you need help. You're tireder than you were when you were 25. It's a changing world, changing at lightning speed. It's almost impossible to keep up with what's changing from day to day. And if young people are having a hard time keeping up, you know that we are, because we've got some technical challenges possibly because we didn't grow up with computers. So don't be ashamed to admit if you need help, and then go about seeking it. And I want to point you toward an article that I found online. It's an AARP article, and the article itself isn't all that long, but what I wanted to highlight in it was they had a section called "How do I find support services in my neighborhood?" And this is important. You need to find local help. Yes, there's a lot of resources online. Use those, look for them too. They're important, but look locally to see if there are people you can talk to, people you can share duties with. Maybe you'll find a couple of grandparents you can carpool with on occasion, or exchange babysitting. Who knows? You just need to start, discovering locally what is there for you to have some help. So here's their list. Schools. Talk to the school guidance counselor, to teachers, anyone in the administrative offices. Just tell them what you're doing and ask if they have any suggestions. I'm sure they've encountered it before because it is so rampant in our modern day. And they may know of help groups or local grandparent groups that are getting together and helping one another. Ask the question. Next spot was children's services, children and family welfare office, government agencies, state, local, wherever it might be. They also would have suggested resources and places for you to go to get some help. Faith-based organizations. Whether you're involved in ministry activities or not, whether you attend church regularly or not. They're great resources if you need help. They may be a comfort to you as far as, someone to talk to and get a new perspective on the situation that they're in. But they also may have some services, some counseling services or activities that would be good for your grandchildren. So check them out. If you are a faith family, then certainly you probably already explored that route, but we want to encourage everyone to at least consider it. Community centers, what programs are available, what educational, adult continuing education type classes are available, what activities are available for your grandchildren to participate in. I know my grandkids have participated in some art programs and whatnot locally and had some great experiences. So even if it's not for support directly in you how to deal with these matters, it may be activities that give some outlets to your grands for some creative energy and learning and growing or hiking or whatever it might be. Look for those things. The YMCA and the YWCA, same thing, lots of activities there. County extension offices. You'll remember that we talked last week, and one of the great articles we shared was from a Georgia University Extension Office. There's more that goes on in some of the, our learning institutions than just teaching in classroom. Sometimes they're producing material that's good for us and good content. Boys and girls clubs, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, other youth groups. As you get your grands involved in things like this, ask leaders, do you know of resources for grandparents? Are there other grandparents in the troop or the organization that have children enrolled? I'd like to maybe get to know them and have coffee while the kids are participating in an activity. Even just a friend sometimes to talk to is a great emotional support and outlet when we're struggling and in crisis. Mentoring programs like Big Brothers and Big Sisters, those have been around for years and can be a great help, especially if you're a single grandparent. I didn't put the statistic in my notes, but there was a significant number of single grandparents raising grandchildren. So, of course, there's a lot of joy involved in being with our grandchildren, but we do know, because we're a generation older and removed from the young generation, that there are some extra difficulties and pain points, if you will, that we need to address. Finally, local colleges and universities, and this particularly they note with regards to the possibility of some legal aid. Sometimes there are free legal clinics, or law schools once in a while will take on certain types of cases as they have young law students working under the supervision of an attorney, but they can provide legal services at reduced or free rates. And so look around, check out this article, search more for resources available for grandparents raising grandchildren. You'll find lots of things, and I hope and pray that you find the help you need, and I commend you again for doing the job that you're doing. The little ones are who's the most important in this process, and we want to give them the best start possible.